Well, today I'm with my friend Brandon Veiseh. He's the CEO and co-founder of MindFort. And before starting MindFort, he was the product owner at Project Discovery and built their enterprise platform from scratch. His new startup, MindFort, is a security tool leveraging AI to find vulnerabilities in your company's apps before attackers exploit them. And MindFort is a recent Y Combinator X25 graduate. So, Brandon, it's great to have you today.
Likewise, Walter, great to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the problem you guys are solving.
Totally. Myself and my co-founder Cole have worked extensively on the broader world of application security, which is like helping companies protect their web apps from hackers, like from the different kind of vulnerabilities that can befall modern web applications. And it's a really complicated space that was always dominated by human-led, consultant-driven penetration testing, which is a very important service, very valuable, but very difficult because it's prohibitively expensive. You can only really get it done once a year. Uh, and the deliverable is a PDF. So we thought, hey, there's a problem with this, and that the value of this service is so important. How can we leverage AI to actually bring this to everyone, make it more ubiquitous, let people consume more penetration testing to keep their applications secure? Um, and that's why we built MindFort. So
Got it.
we wanted to make it easier to just get security testing done.
And I heard you say a lot about the 364 days till your next till your next penetration test from consultants. So that's a big problem. And so you talk about ongoing penetration in the manner in which the attackers would attack you. So let's talk
Exactly.
about the ongoing aspect of it first.
Exactly. So it's important because you can get a pen test and then remediate the vulnerabilities, but the very next day your engineering team is going to ship new features. So in that delta, there will be potentially new vulnerabilities, and obviously bad actors don't stop when you get a pen test. They're just going to go all day, um, which is why you have to have the adequate equal defense. Now, it's also interesting because attackers themselves are leveraging AI. We saw Anthropic disrupt recently a very large, very sophisticated state-sponsored hacking group using very sophisticated agents to do hacking and to try to break into different products at scale. So the adversaries are already doing this. So there's a compounding effect here where we're shipping more code as an industry with AI, um, meaning we're building products faster, but we're also not, finding all the gaps that we may be causing. And then the adversaries are using AI to look for vulnerabilities faster than they could before. So it's very important to have your own team of agents doing this testing to make sure that when you're shipping all the time, you're also secure in that.
And talk a bit about the method of hackers. I know you said they don't use obvious methods. They do chains and they share information and intel with each other. And it's like a staged attack program and a strategy. So can you talk about their typical strategy and how you guys mirror that to protect your clients?
Yeah, it's a great question. So uh, attackers like to kind of work in like three phases. They'll do reconnaissance, so they'll constantly be probing your application, trying to understand its construction, what tools and tech you used, how your APIs are constructed, where the weak points may be. And then once they've kind of gotten a good lay of the land, they'll go out and try to, set up a bunch of hypotheses and try to exploit them, right? Looking for vulnerabilities in known packages that you may be using, looking for patterns in how you developed your APIs and your systems that may lead to different vulnerabilities that they could escalate, exploit, and then continue to kind of go up the value chain, like going from your front end, breaking your auth, getting into your database, getting passwords, and then going even further, breaking into your backend. So we take a similar stance in trying to build the best hackers as like the best defense as a good offense
Mhm.
methodology. So we follow the same kind of ways that what we call black hat hackers would go about breaking into a web app, and we actually just make that 10 times better. We have a specialized model that we use in our stack. We have some of the best agents in the entire industry, purpose built for hacking.
Mhm.
They're extremely good at finding vulnerabilities, and that's exactly what our customers need. So that's what we spend all day doing.
Got it. And what about the benefit of speed and sidestepping or avoiding human errors?
So that's interesting. We, contrary to popular belief, actually believe that human pen testing is a good thing, right? We don't want to tell folks not to get their annual pen test. Um, AI is getting better every single day. We don't think that it's there yet that you can completely just say, I don't need a human to ever look at our site and do
Mm.
the security testing. But it is becoming acutely uh, noticeable that you need to get testing more than just once a year. So it's not about sidestepping or like improving upon what humans do. Humans are very creative in the way that they think about attacking a target. But AI agents are very systematic. So where a human may figure out a really creative way, a novel way of like exploiting an application, that's great. But what you really need is a systematic assessment of the context and the content of your application to find those common vulnerabilities that are, used in stacks and layers to do those complex exploits down the line, so that you never get there, so that you never have an application that's riddled with enough holes that a really skilled hacker could come in and exploit them.
Great. So the ideal strategy would be the pen testing, annual pen testing, also using humans, and then also using AI on an ongoing basis to just constantly try so many different angles, just like a hacker would, to
Exactly.
get into your systems.
Exactly. And we're actually releasing a new product shortly, that's going to allow human teams to kind of investigate a little bit further. So we have autonomous agents that run continuously. They find those vulnerabilities, but we're building in a direct co-pilot agent that teams can, take the findings that we discovered during our pen tests and actually iterate off of them and
Hmm.
go further and conduct more deep investigations. So just like amplifying the human team behind, whatever web application that they're responsible for securing, as well as bringing in this continuous level of testing. So
Mhm.
really helping use AI and leverage it to keep our customers' products as secure as they possibly can be.
Talking about clients, do you have a really awesome client success story that you want to share that's on the top of your mind?
We do actually. We had a really, really awesome and fulfilling client story. Because of the nature of security, we can't really,
I
very openly
understand.
share who our customers are. But there's a pretty decent sized AI healthcare startup that we work with, and they were launching a new product, and they wanted to get some penetration testing done. So they were kind of looking at different options in the market, looking at some human firms, and then they heard about our product and they said, hey, we'd like to use that. We build with agents, we use agents. We really see the value in having agents continuously testing. Um, let's set it up, let's get it done. So we ended up finding a lot of issues with their application that were completely unbeknownst to them. And it's a great team
Hmm.
of engineers, right? So it wasn't like uh, necessarily unique to them, but we helped secure them. And then again, they're this is like a health tech company, so their data was critically important that it was secure, due to all the laws surrounding privacy and health records. So we felt really good that we were able to give them a great test. We found a lot of vulnerabilities, and they
Hmm.
ended up shipping the product in 10 times better shape than it would have gone out had they not done testing with us. So it was really fulfilling.
So talking about that 10 times better shape, is there a typical improvement that you see with your clients? Like, is there a 10x every time, or is it 3x, or what would you describe?
You know, it depends on how your application is architected, how much testing you've done in the past. We'll test a lot of applications that are extremely secure, that have been thoroughly tested and have minimal change. But the
Hmm.
value to those customers is they get the peace of mind that we're watching anyway, right? So we love giving back a test where we say, hey, we found nothing wrong and you did a great job. But we show you a very extensive list of evidence of all the nasty little attacks that we tried, um, to reassure our customers on how secure their application is. So where before it was kind of blind faith that they had to hope their application is secure. Now, whether we find vulnerabilities or not, you have the evidence and you know exactly where your application stands. So I think that's really the more important thing to highlight. Whether we find a ton of findings, is kind of, that's not the main point. We want you to have an understanding of where your application stands, your application health. Um, and so we do that really well and we make that really clear to our customers. So anytime we can bring more visibility to a customer and bring more peace of mind, we did our job successfully.
Got it. Who would you say is an ideal prospect for you?
Any team that's building with AI right now, if you guys are shipping code, at a rapid pace, right? Using Cloud Code, using Cursor, using Codex, moving fast and like innovating in your space, uh, I would really recommend getting in touch with us, because at the pace that you guys are building, AI is like the best tool ever, but it can also be like your worst nightmare, because they're not perfect at writing secure code, and we see this over and over again. So, um, if you're responsible for a web application that's moving fast and iterating a lot, I highly recommend getting in touch with us for continuous testing.
Got it. What about cost savings on the annual penetration testing? I mean, because you're testing all year, does it make that like more of a, less laborious task, or what would you say there?
Having an in-house security team can be prohibitively expensive. Doing continuous pen testing can be prohibitively
Hmm.
expensive. Even getting a one-time pen test for like smaller teams, $10,000, $15,000 can be prohibitively expensive. So depending on the size of your attack surface, the number of applications, and the size of the application that your team is responsible for, MindFort always ends up being more affordable, and you're getting a much higher ROI on the dollars you spend. If you spend $50,000, or maybe you're looking to spend $150,000 on bringing a dedicated security engineer for about 2/3 the price, you could get the power of what would be 3 to 4 very trained security engineers continuously testing your application in the entire year, right? You're not spending that all at one point either. So that's where it really makes sense for a lot of our larger enterprise customers that come to us. Testing large and vast attack surfaces becomes far more efficient when you can do it with agents. To whereas like they're even for the biggest companies, it's cost prohibitive to test every inch of their very large attack surfaces all the time. So that's where MindFort really shines in the enterprise and the larger end.
Got it. And what you're saying about the kind of the workflow with it prompting the security engineer, is that kind of the way that they could just follow up on, like that's human in the loop, like the system is saying, hey, what about these? And you want to go follow up on those and see if there's anything, to worry about or fix or anything like that?
So the way that we built our system is that we want our agents to always give you like these high quality findings that are the actual, extremely low hallucination rate. You can trust what we found is in your application. But oftentimes, applications are complicated, and folks want to have that additional layer of being able to go in there and then continue the attack, right? Our agents will find a vulnerability, they'll report it, and then you can see that, but maybe there's more back there that the agents weren't able to find. And that lets the human kind of using the same great tools and the same great agents and models that power our autonomous solution, use that same power to like go way further into an application and investigate a finding into its entirety. So that really helps, like, even the playing field against the adversaries that are doing the same thing, frankly.
Is there a time to resolution or anything that you see a great increase in that? What would you say is the factor there?
Time to resolution really depends on like the organization's engineering cycles and like kind of that relationship between engineering and security, which hasn't always been the greatest symbiotic relationship. So that's also something that we're looking at addressing is, how can we bring MindFort's findings into what is growing to be people's engineering agents in their repos, right? The ideal workflow for us is, MindFort finds some vulnerabilities, then we can help you actually patch those directly in your code base. So time to resolution is something that we keep track of and we see going down consistently because now folks are just kind of like bringing their MindFort findings right into their preset coding agents. So it's already shortening that loop, but we'd like to take that even further in the future. So
how do you like people to engage with your company, with your product, try it out, learn more?
Would love to get on a call with us, and we love explaining the product and how to use it to its best effect. But we also made it really simple to sign up. You don't have to talk to a single person, and you can get the full value of the product that way. So it really just depends on your appetite for diving in. Our team has spent a ton of time making sure that the product's super easy to use. We have great documentation as well. So just depending on how folks like to engage with the product, we're here to meet them where they're at. So.
And I think I saw 15 minutes, like you can get up and running in 15 minutes and then you can start testing in 60 minutes.
Exactly. Our implementation is super easy because we're coming from the external perspective, right? So there's nothing to install. It's really just like a very quick setup process, giving us some details on the actual target itself, and you can get up and testing in minutes.
Cool. And the best way is to go to your website and follow some of the links there?
That's the best way to do it, mindfort.ai.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, this has been super exciting. It's an awesome solution. I can't wait to see the growth and expansion and just the adoption in the marketplace. So this has been really cool.
Appreciate it, Walter. Thanks so much for having me.
Awesome.